So in the last video, we left off with setting up our spacing. So we got some breathing room around our elements now and some positioning. So it's starting to shape up to look a little bit better. It's not as ugly as it once was, but now we are going to take a look at Flexbox and laying things out. So let's go over to Tailwind over here. So basically you just have to add this flex utility class onto your element, and it converts it to a Flexbox container. And then you can just start adding all the supporting utility classes to tell it how to lay things out. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to look at this first. So let's go into header. So we have that open. So I want to unhide this because I think I need to add some stuff here. So on mobile, we need some spacing here. So let's do a PY. Let's say 6. And we need to increase this font size. So let's do text. Do extra large. A little bit more. Let's do. Yeah, that looks okay. Now I want to change these to 8, or let's try 6. Let's do 6. Okay, so that looks okay now. I'll leave this up for now and then hide it again later. I also want to add some spacing here. So in our CSS, I'm going to add a, because eventually we're going to need to create where we click this. So I'm going to add an ID here. Call it main menu. Save that. And in our CSS, do I have that script running? Yeah, so I still have the script running, which is in our node package file here. So let's call this header nav. So we're going to have an ID, and I want the LI and A's to have at apply. And we add this at apply based off of the Tailwind function there. I want it to have margin, or actually padding Y of 2. Let's try that. Have that load. Let's add a bit more. I want to have some margin right as well, so let's do 4 as well. We're not going to see it on this version, but once we have it on our mobile, then our desktop. Okay, so I think that's enough room now. Okay, so let's look at Flexbox. I just wanted to get that because I didn't do that in the last video, which I should have done with the text as well. Okay, so here, let's take a look. So where do we need our flex? So we need this to be a flex. So this section here. So let's go ahead and do that. So class flex. Okay, so that's there. And we need to make it justify between, and let's show what that looks like. So it pushes it to each side. We need an items center to vertically align it. So that push down. Now, is this Okay. So let's hide this. I think there's... No, let's hide this. Let's make this 8 because it looks a little small in comparison. I'm going to hide this one. Okay, so yeah, that looks okay. All right, so let's hide this and see kind of what it would look like in... So we want this to go over here when it's on desktop. So we need another, so this needs to be flex. And we need this as well. Okay, so let's hide this for a sec, see what that looks like. Oops. Okay, and let's bring this back. So we need this to be full. So, and we also need this to be flex wrap. So let's hide this again and show this. Okay, so in our media query, we'll go like this. With no wrap. And this also needs to be flex. So that is flex. This will be, we'll say no wrap here. And then, okay, so this is what it would kind of look like on the desktop. I'm just trying to build that out as well. Okay, so let's put that back in here. So this is what it would look like without on the mobile. So in responsive, I'll add this back in. And then I'm going to hide this for now until we tackle it in our responsive video. And I'm going to show that. So this is what our design will look like. So that's it for this navigation for our flex. So let's copy that. Actually, let's just leave it. Okay, so what is our next section? I'll copy it over after. Now we need to fix this. So let's open up. Yeah, so we want it to look like this. So we want our header our copy to be pushed down. So how do we accomplish that? So we need to have our height set up. So here, let's go and set this up as a Flexbox. So see if that does anything. So I'm going to tell it to be a flex column direction, because by default it does flex row. And I'm going to do justify end, and this should push to the bottom. Oh, I also need, let's do this, screen. So H screen gives it a height of 100%. So this pushes it to the bottom, now that there's a height. Now on this absolute, this background image, I'm going to give it a width full and a height of full. So now this gets pushed back up. Now we need to do that same thing. So I use this a couple times. So I want to create a utility in my CSS here. Call it CWC full screen. And give it an apply. So if I save that, screen. Let me save that. I want to use this. So I'm in my hero. I want to use this here. I want to use this here. Actually, let's change it. Let's remove this. And rename it to just full, because it's not technically full screen. If I use the H screen and W screen, it would be full screen, but this is just taking 100% of both. So I'm just going to call it full. And I'm going to add this class here as well. This one doesn't take the absolute, so that's why I took the absolute out of here, out of this. Okay. So now this gets stretched. So how do we fix that so it doesn't look so distorted here? So we do it something called, so in background image there's something called cover and contain. So we can use, there's something called object that does the same thing. So we do object cover, and that gets our image back to normal. Now it's zoomed in a lot. Okay, so there's another thing I want to do, and it has to do with height. I want to give some extra height classes here. So within our extend, I want to extend this screen, because right now in Tailwind they only have 100% screen. And let's do a min width, because I might, or a min height, might need to use that. So I might as well do it at the same time. So they don't have extra screen classes, so we need to go ahead and build those. So I want one that's a half. I want a third. 1/3. I also want two-thirds, 3/4, 5/8, or 4/5, which is 80. 80, 75, 66. Okay, so that looks right. So let me save that, just so we have some more screen classes, because I don't want this to be full screen on a mobile like this. And in here, let's go ahead and change this to 2/3. Oops. And there we go. I also want to update this right here, because I have this overlay here. So I have a background black. That makes that black. So I'm going to do BG opacity 25. Okay, so that looks like that same shade there. Now I want to create another gradient here. So what we need to do is bg gradient and to bottom. And I want from transparent via transparent. So it takes 3 colors. So we have this transparent via transparent is the middle, and I'm going to do 2 black, and it's going to fill up black there. So now we have this, we finally have our image looking like this. All right, that looks pretty good. I think that's all the Flexbox we have for this. Let me take a look here. We have some Flexboxes for these 2 elements. So let's update that in the card. In the card we have here and here. So class equals flex justify center. And let me open that up. Yeah, so they're now here. I also want to give it these border so we can see them because they're both border white. Yeah, I didn't notice that before in our button. So let's do border gray 200 as the default. I'm going to save that. Put this in the cards. And then I'll paste everything into the index and we'll take one last look. So this section I'm just going to fast forward because I'm just cutting and pasting. Nothing's really happening here. And there's just shift in the middle. And yeah, that's it. I think that's it for Flexbox. The rest of it will be CSS grids. So I'm going to end the video here and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed the content so far. If you have any questions or feedback, please leave a comment down below. To stay updated with the latest content from the channel, you can subscribe by clicking right here in the middle.